Thank you very much, Sir Edward. Obviously, we're here to discuss the Vaccine Damage Payment Scheme 1979, and my interest is as chair of the all-party group on vaccinations for all, so it's quite clear I'm absolutely and utterly pro-vaccination. And I think we can be grateful within the whole scope of vaccines just how rare significant side effects or damage actually is. But it is important, as the honourable member was saying, if we're going to maintain confidence in vaccination in principle, but also in further COVID-19 vaccines, that people feel secure and supported, that they're not hearing horror stories of people who have been hurt in some way by the vaccine and then just left stranded. It is vital that we do that, or what we will see is a rise in vaccine scepticism, vaccine hesitancy, and that will be manipulated exactly as we have seen over the last couple of years. Yes?
The other point I would make as a former civil servant is that I believe that this caseload is so small that it is not unfair to expect ministers to look at each case individually. That capacity there, it is capable. And when you act in the national interest, because at the time of vaccination it was to protect others around you, not just to protect yourself, many who've had negative consequences were perfectly healthy and did so to protect their loved ones. They deserve the bare minimum of a minister looking individual, case by case, to see what support they need and whether they deserve to vaccine payment or whether they deserve exceptional support in some way. Does she agree?
I totally agree. I mean, we're talking in the government response to this petition of 174 cases. When I was a breast cancer surgeon and there was this scandal about PIP implants, which frankly I knew we had never used, I still had to go through every single breast reconstruction I had done in a period of 17 years to be able to absolutely verify that that was not the implant. It is absolutely possible with such numbers. And at the moment, only 11 of those have been settled. Now, only 2% in recent years have been successful. Whenever any kind of scheme is only having that kind of return, you have to look at it. And as was commented, the long wait, people are left maybe not able to work, maybe with family pressures, as we've already heard, with no support. And this issue of 60% disablement, who is deciding that? And exactly as was said, it's an absolute cut-off. And even the maximum payment, it's not been reviewed since 2010. It wouldn't cover you for 20 or 25 years of lost earnings and ability. The government say it's not compensation, and I think a no-fault scheme absolutely right. I raised this issue with the member for Stratford-on-Avon when he was Vaccines Minister in December 2020, that if the government were removing liability from pharmaceutical firms, they had to step in and replace. So I would like to see the VDPS improved for all vaccine users, but I think that COVID-19 is a very specific case, and I think urgent action is needed, and even more important to get that financial support. We obviously heard about cerebral venous sinus thrombosis and how catastrophic, but thankfully how rare it is. But the microthrombosis that people have had, but also autoimmune responses to the vaccines, have led to a whole array. My constituent, who doesn't want to be named, suffered from Guillain-Barré syndrome. That is now recognised and mentioned in association with the vaccines. It's a neurological problem. He has partial facial paralysis and has lost balance. Now, that may sound quite minor, but he worked at heights in a major physical job and hasn't been able to work since spring 2020. So people like him, he is terrified of the 60% disablement because he can imagine that when he walks into a room, regardless of his facial appearance or his balance, people will think, well, you're not really that bad. But he can't do the job he was doing before. And I think it is vital that we take these cases out of the VDPS, deal with them quickly to ensure confidence in the COVID-19 vaccine going forward, but also take the time to actually change the VDPS, to make it responsive, to make it quick, and to make it something the public believe in. Even in total, there are currently only just over 2,000 cases. Even working through those is not an overwhelming number if it maintains vaccine confidence and the benefit that vaccination brings us in all age groups throughout our lives and for multiple diseases.